Hello, and a very warm welcome to today's exciting brand new episode of Simply Electric featuring the Volvo XC60 T6 plug-in hybrid. It has just recently undergone its model update. We're showcasing the latest version of this vehicle and have already shared it with you in a classic review, including a detailed driving report. And today we want to test on our Mecklenburg route whether it can also achieve the WLTP estimate of its electric range, which is 76 kilometers combined. That means we're going to test whether it can truly drive a full 76 kilometers purely on electric power. And if not, how far it actually goes. Some have surpassed it while others didn't quite make it. We're super excited about that. And then, of course, we also want to drive the rest of the route in hybrid mode, so to speak, with what is supposedly an empty battery to see how the consumption of its combustion engine is then. Since it's a plug-in hybrid, you'll get to learn all the details about the consumption of the brand new Volvo XC60 T6 plug-in hybrid. Before we get started, take a moment to check if you're part of a Vellectrist community. We would be thrilled if you could support us with your subscription. It's free for you, but for us it's a huge help in growing the channel a bit more. Now it's time to dive into the facelift of the Volvo XC60 T6 plug-in hybrid. Before we get started, we'll need to go through a few settings with you to ensure everything runs smoothly and successfully. Because with a plug-in hybrid like this, we naturally have different driving modes, so we can drive in hybrid mode, where the car decides how to control the drive, meaning either via the combustion engine, which is located on the front axle, or via the electric motor on the rear axle. We can drive in power mode to achieve maximum acceleration and performance, and in pure mode to then also create a pure electric driving experience, and for that purpose we have naturally decided to fully utilize the purely electric range. Plus, there's an off-road mode for terrain and an all-wheel drive mode, with the combustion engine powering the front axle and the electric motor, which drives the rear axle, thus creating an AWD system. Besides that, we can also determine the battery usage ourselves. You have a hold function, so you can drive on the combustion engine for longer trips, to preserve the electric energy, so to speak, so that you can then move as emission-free as possible in urban areas. And there's a special function that we don't value as much, the charging function, where you can, of course, use the engine and generator to improve the battery's energy level. We're looking at the daily kilometer counter here on the left, which I've already reset for you. I've also warmed up the combustion engine a bit over 12.1 kilometers with an average consumption of 8.5 liters per 100 kilometers driven. You can see the battery pack is fully charged, currently at 99.9%. It's displaying 73 kilometers of pure electric range, and we're driving in brake mode, which ensures that maximum energy regeneration is being effectively utilized. You've got drive mode, which allows for more coasting, and then essentially the brake mode as well, where you can essentially utilize the electric motor, the energy recovery or regeneration, to efficiently channel and store energy back into the battery. We'll start by driving around Neustrelitz a bit. Of course, when we reduce speed, we'll want to recover energy again. And then later on, when we hit the countryside roads, we'll do a lot of coasting because, as you know, coasting is by far the most efficient way to keep the car moving with minimal energy usage and effort involved. That means we'll be switching between drive and brake mode using the gear selector here, depending on whether we're driving in the city or on the open road. Here's a handy little tip from us. Feel free to drop a comment below and share your thoughts on how you usually handle it. But that's how we often manage to achieve the WLTP ranges, Stefan.
Yes, it really is.
And sometimes even surpass them. We started our journey here through Neustrelitz, then we'll drive along the B198, heading in the direction of the Polish border. Stefan has indeed picked out a brilliant route here, one that's relatively balanced topographically, featuring plenty of cross-country sections and a few town passages, so that I think you can simulate a well-rounded combined drive, Stefan, right?
You should do that, yes. Or rather, you should think so. We're also nearly 100 kilometers essentially to the Polish border. So let's see how far we can drive electrically.
Exactly. That means we've got 22 degrees Celsius today, slightly overcast skies. Stefan checked out the tire wheel combination. What's been put in here?
We've got a 21-inch fitted on it, 255.40.
Probably on summer tires.
Yeah,
Are we in summer, right? Although we also have test cars in summer with winter tires. It should also exist, but not at Volvo, where of course everything is perfectly organized. Yes, the car itself is rounded off. 4.71 meters long, it falls into the SUV category. And the plug-in hybrid always consists of a combination of an internal combustion engine and an electric drive. So we essentially have a turbocharged Otto engine combined with a supercharged engine that's mounted on the front axle and is responsible for powering the front wheels. Connected to an 8-speed automatic transmission, which handles the shifting of the gears seamlessly. And the engine has, I believe, just under 2 liters of displacement and a power output of 186 kilowatts, which I think translates to 253 horsepower with 350 Newton meters of torque. So even this 4-cylinder petrol engine delivers a solid amount of power. At the front, we have the front axle, and an electric motor is also installed on the rear axle, actively driving it. Together, the combustion engine and electric motor deliver full all-wheel drive capability. An all-wheel drive. This electric motor mounted on the rear axle provides 107 kilowatts of power, equating to 145 horsepower in old terms, and delivers an impressive 309 Newton meters of torque. So overall, we're looking at a combined system output of 350 horsepower and 659 Newton meters of torque. That's the T6 plug-in hybrid, and today we're thrilled to take it out for a test drive together with you to see how it performs on the road. Additionally, it's also available for around 3,000 euros more as the T8 with 455 horsepower and 709 Newton meters of torque. Perhaps for those who might want a bit more power under the hood, Stefan, don't you think?
Yes, there's quite a broad range of them available.
And our test model begins in the base trim at just over 67,000 euros based on the pricing at the time of recording our video. We've often seen this dot of viewers watch later when the car's already more expensive.
Yeah, or cheaper, but that's a very rare occurrence, really.
That's also said to have happened before. Applause for the car manufacturers. So this was actually, I believe, one of the most popular plug-in hybrids in Germany overall. Volvo is very, very proud of it. It's also, I believe, one of the highest selling Volvo vehicles. The XC60 is extremely popular with you, and especially with corporate clients, because Volvo, apart from the dot list price, which everyone can evaluate for themselves, we know how expensive cars have become, offers the most attractive leasing and financing conditions for both private individuals and companies. Plus an incredibly interesting subscription model available.
Yes, now it's entirely very broadly positioned, Volvo, especially in that regard.
I feel subscriptions are increasingly popular as more people appreciate the full service benefits they provide. I don't have to worry about insurance, radio license fees, or I don't know what else is there. Taxes, subscriptions, or any of those things, wear and tear, depreciation, and so on and so forth. And that's where Volvo, in my opinion, offers a truly exciting and innovative solution by introducing such a subscription model.
Yeah, it's really catching on, just like you said.
And you simply have a price, and it's sort of all-inclusive for the duration of the subscription. I think the minimum term used to be 6 months, but that might have changed, so you can also experience a plug-in hybrid for a short period of time. Your daily routine with a typical 40-kilometer commute means the Volvo could almost go 2 full days without needing to recharge. Maybe even having that first electric drivetrain experience.
Exactly, that's what it's all about. For those who maybe aren't quite ready to make the full switch, there's the option of trying out the vehicle for 3 or 6 months through such a subscription. See how you get on with it, and then afterwards either fully commit to it or just switch back to the old one again.
Exactly, so that might also be another option for you. You can just mentally take it on board for now, not just deciding between leasing, financing, or buying, but maybe also taking a look at it. Third-party providers offer subscription models from various brands. Where could you potentially uncover a particularly attractive and cost-effective deal for a new car during a specific time frame? Yeah, we've got a great exhibition again, Stefan. You've got to admit, something to treat yourself to.
Yes, we're very well equipped here, with electrically adjustable seats, even on the passenger side, which I find very comfortable.
Height edge too?
Height adjustment I also have, after I did a bit of searching around. We've got a really nice panoramic roof here, and I think Volvo calls it Ultra, if I'm not mistaken. this equipment line, everything that's included here. There's definitely a lot going on, quite a few impressive features packed in.
Yes, from the outside, plenty of chrome, as Volvo's known for, and still consistently delivers. Now with a dark trim option, which we've got right here, exactly.
Otherwise, there's also bright, which would then be the one with the chrome, essentially.
Yes, I was actually talking about that. We have the dark variant, where everything is glossy black. And then there's even a black edition currently available, where you basically get this black beast on the outside.
Yeah, it's completely black. Everything is black.
Yeah, for those more performance focused and wanting something subtle, it's pretty nice. And then there's even a Polestar edition where everything's slightly more performance oriented and refined.
I believe it's actually referred to as Polestar engineered, right? Exactly.
It's a subtle nod to the Polestar vehicles we truly appreciate, where the latest and most innovative models are consistently highlighted and showcased right here at Simply Electric. What's Volvo changed in the update, for those of you wondering? Who unfortunately didn't watch the review with the driving report, the link, by the way, is once again in the video description. Is definitely worth taking a look, as you'll get all the detailed information you need there. We've installed a battery pack here with 18.8 kilowatt hours gross, from which 0.0. We're actually able to utilize 14.7 kilowatt hours net. So this battery pack is integrated into the vehicle frame in the center console and is specifically designed to deliver this 76 kilometers of combined WLTP range. What I don't particularly like is that there's no specific consumption figure provided for the purely electric drive mode. That means when I check the trip computer here, it only ever shows us the liter figure displayed. Since the engine was off, it's showing a dash for liters per 100 kilometers driven. But it doesn't show whether we're also achieving the 19.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers driven as per the WLTP electric consumption, or whether we might even fall below or exceed it. We haven't found a display for that now. I think it's a bit of a shame.
Then we probably have to calculate it manually again. We'll manage that too.
Yes, which is a shame. We also showed you during the review in the factory that we still only have a Type 2 connection, which only charges single phase at 32 amps rated for 6.6 kilowatts. I can do that at my place. Others can't though, because they only have a 16 amp connection. And then the charging power is halved to 3.3 kilowatts. And I can imagine that would result in a charging time of approximately 6 to 7 hours or so. The one that only charges with a Schuko socket usually has around 2.3 kilowatt charging power, so we're talking about 10 hours. Yeah.
It's just becoming more and more. So a small CCS connector with 50 or 65 kilowatts, like some other manufacturers already have, would really do this car a lot of good, and I think it would also push it a good bit further ahead.
First, I thought of the 3-phase 11 kilowatt charger.
That would basically be the first thing to consider.
Exactly, where we could actually recharge the 14.7 kilowatt hours of net usable energy in an hour and a half, even on AC. Perfectly normal on a 16 amp fuse. DC is of course convenient for those who might not be able to charge at home, who can then do their shopping at the supermarket. Most retail chains now also provide 50 kilowatt fast charging options, or even faster, at supermarkets, where you can fully recharge your battery during a quick half-hour shopping trip. Or maybe even on long distance trips. When you think about a longer vacation journey, you take a midday break, a coffee break, a power nap, a walk, some entertainment for the kids, or perhaps a dog walk. So, and it would of course also be cool if you could combine the standing time of the vehicle with charging, CCS charging and fast charging to simply maintain the hybrid range high and potentially reduce the reliance on the combustion engine. We have a 71 liter tank volume built into this vehicle, so that if we glance at the display with an almost full combustion tank and battery combined, we could reach up to 780 kilometers in total.
Yes, that's quite good indeed.
There were 1,000 back then. But it always depends a bit on my driving style and of course how I handle the accelerator pedal. I'm often a bit speedy, as you guys already know, when I'm out on the road with you, cruising along at a good pace. And yeah, here's a hazard spot, which is why my hazard alarm just beeped. Now I'm approaching a railroad crossing just to keep us all alert, because as you know, I might get a bit distracted while moderating everything here. You've noticed hands must stay on the wheel, and we'll find out if I really need to when we test the assistance system. Yes, but of course we always want maximum safety during our video recordings here on board, and that's why we always have a hazard warning system with us, since there's always unknown construction, unexpected breakdowns, or other potential issues. We've had some surprises already.
Oh yes, absolutely, yes.
But now let's continue driving a bit further and show you some more highlights of the Volvo XC60, and of course we'll keep monitoring our range and consumption throughout the journey. The Volvo XC60 provides optional access to the very latest and most advanced driver assistance systems currently available. That includes a lane keeping assistant paired with a steering assistant specifically designed to ensure you stay perfectly centered in the middle of your lane at all times, even on longer journeys. We don't have capacitive controls, so instead of simply resting 3 fingers on the wheel, we have to give it a little shake to show attentiveness, so it notices that we're paying attention. Now we're approaching a left curve, and we'll observe whether it can maintain the center of the lane here. Yeah, I'm steering a bit here, feeling a bit anxious about getting too close to the guardrail. Now comes another sharper right curve, and I'm really curious to see exactly where we'll end up heading. Yes, but then we'd go over the line, and I have to say, I find that a little disappointing because we drive this route quite often, and now I have to correct once again. VW Group vehicles, Audi, Skoda, Cupra and VW itself, they all consistently and steadily maintain the center of the lane in these curves. BMW does it, Mercedes does it, Renault does it, but the Volvo doesn't.
No, I think that's actually a bit of a shame, especially since we know that some others, they use the data from the GPS or the navigation system or something else and then effectively reduce the speed. When they realize, oh, there's a bit of a sharper curve coming up, he doesn't either. He would have just kept driving at the preset speed, and we most likely would have ended up crashing straight into the guardrails on the opposite side of the road. No doubt about it.
Yeah, because we appreciate, and like Volvo, I didn't set the adaptive cruise control to 100 kilometers per hour, but only to 90, because I know the curves are sharp and tight, just like the two of us.
No way at all.
Had fun? I'm thinking of last night's cabanossi. It was spicy too. So for that reason, I have to say it's really not the top of the line. What also falls short of being the absolute best, in my personal opinion, is the traffic sign recognition system. There are a lot of errors. We also don't have an adaptive solution. That was essentially the speed. Then at the town entrance sign here, transfer into the adaptive cruise control. We don't have a predictive solution at all, meaning it doesn't drive proactively and then adjust to 50 kilometers per hour at the town entrance sign per hour, like the Volkswagen Group, BMW and Mercedes do. I can only keep repeating myself, but they're simply on a different level in the driver assistance area. That's what I find a bit disappointing, because especially when I think about the many commercial customers of the XC60 who probably spend a lot of time on the road for work, they might not even miss it on the highway, since there are no sharp curves like on rural roads, but they drive there a lot like us.
Yeah, na klar.
So we have to drive 50-60 kilometers just to get to the highway each time. Right, and there, of course, partially autonomous support is a bit helpful when you're driving on country roads for an hour.
Worth its pure gold.
Even you, before we launched this YouTube channel over 5 years ago, were quite skeptical about assistance systems. You were the classic, typical German do-it-yourselfer. Yes.
Right, but you just get used to it over time. Especially, you know, with the Autobahn and all that kind of stuff or something like that. For us, it's the B690 that takes us to Berlin every time. We're so tired of it, and you're just relieved when the car does most of the work, leaving you to handle just the steering through those long, monotonous stretches.
Stefan's so kind and always supports me during our longer trips together. We travel around 50,000 kilometers per year so that I can simply work, edit the videos for you, and sometimes even upload them while on the road. And I still remember in the EQS, you pretty much drove exclusively with assistance systems there, even in the city center through roundabouts because it slowed down at the roundabout. Naturally, the XC60 can't match an EQS at 178,000 euros. That's not what I intend to do either. I want to compare the technology because the technology from the EQS is also available in a GLC, which might now be a comparable counterpart, and it would have mastered all these curves, predictively adjusting the speed and so forth, among other things. It's really a shame, Volvo, alongside the battery size, because a GLC offers around 25 kilowatt hours and even up to 28 kilowatt hours in the latest model. And here we're looking at 18.8, and it's quite similar when it comes to the assistance systems. So I really would have wished for a bit more Swedish assistance, to be honest with you about that matter. Quick update here from the onboard computer. So we've driven 30.7 kilometers purely on electric power. You can see that no fuel consumption is displayed here. Average speed is 62 kilometers per hour, and it indicates a remaining electric range of 41 kilometers. So we are currently within the range it indicates and on a solid path to achieve something around 72, 73 kilometers. We naturally aren't giving up hope to also reach the 76 kilometers of the WLTP range or even surpass it, as we of course want to present the Volvo in the best possible light and demonstrate its full potential. But we also can't just cut corners here to achieve certain values, because we're always authentic, honest, straightforward and precise. Our primary aim is to carry out a genuine real-world test, rather than simply generating some artificial lab-derived number.
So with all the taping and whatnot, no, we're not doing that. Here you're getting the unfiltered raw truth.
Good, no clue.
Yeah.
It is.
Simply electric. OLLI on the rise. Plug in, turn it up. Let's go.
Yes, that's definitely the new Simply Electric song, the easy electric melody.
Yeah, cool.
That was created by our dear Jens, our producer. The link is in the video description. And yes, it should of course always provide you with great music on your journeys, especially when you have the optional Bowers and Wilkins sound system installed like here. It just makes the experience twice as enjoyable, doesn't it?
That's right, it's a quick card swipe.
Richtig angenehm.
Let's have a listen, shall we?
Feel the energy rise. OLLI's taking you higher under neon skies. Simply electric, where the future collides. It's a brand new dimension. Come and join the ride.
Whoa, that's sub-slamming, huh? Yeah.
Even with headphones on, it's absolutely pounding hard.
I'm telling you, Jens is such a little techno mouse. He's always jetting off to all sorts of events and festivals, but he really nailed it this time around.
Very good, yeah?
We've made quite a bit of progress again, Stefan. And now it's definitely the ideal moment to take a closer look at the consumption here. So we've driven 53.8 kilometers dash liters per 100 kilometers. 62 kilometers per hour is the average speed. And we still have around 23 kilometers of purely electric range remaining, just to clarify. That means we would add up to 77 kilometers and thus have 1 kilometer more than the WLTP range.
Which is actually pretty awesome and cool then.
This is genuinely exciting right now. Can the Volvo XC60 T6 plug-in hybrid actually manage to achieve its WLTP range smoothly in everyday driving, or does it struggle? And what I find at least just as exciting is for you, when you're on a long distance trip and essentially experience hybrid consumption. Take a look, please. I've now driven a total of 66.7 kilometers. As I mentioned earlier, I drove the combustion engine for a solid 12 kilometers to warm it up and bring it to its optimal operating temperature. The consumption has now decreased to 1.5 liters per 100 kilometers driven, thanks to the purely electric driving, maintaining an average speed of 56 kilometers per hour. The factory specification should supposedly be around 0.9 liters, as I found on the homepage. So from that perspective, we're actually really quite close to these lab values, aren't we now then? And I think it also clearly demonstrates that when you fully charge the battery, consistently maintain it charged, and actively integrate it into your hybrid driving strategy, you can achieve exceptionally efficient results by effectively balancing electric power usage with gasoline consumption, ultimately maximizing your overall efficiency. It could initially make sense for those who aren't quite ready to fully commit to switching entirely over to electric vehicles.
That's what we always say. For those who aren't quite ready to go fully electric yet, trying out a plug-in might be a good idea.
Speaking of trying might just be the ideal keyword to really focus on here. We naturally want to take the new infotainment system here in the Volvo XC60 for a spin together with you. Stefan, if you could pan a bit over to the new infotainment screen with its 11.2-inch size. It's a step forward, nicely large, even though still vertical. And it offers, with the Android Automotive system, which belongs to Google, maximum future-proofing. Wouldn't you agree? It's really forward-thinking.
Yeah, exactly right.
Here you have the opportunity to continuously expand and enhance this system by adding new apps directly through the Google Play Store platform. That means you have the possibility, so to speak, to add new apps when they become available and then use them like Spotify even while driving, or also to explore additional features as needed. When the car is parked, for example, to watch videos like YouTube right in the car, that's always awesome, right?
Yeah, and especially it's always expandable. Through the App Store, there will constantly be new features and apps rolling out that you can easily download and install directly on this system. You also have Amazon Prime included, so there's something for everyone, I think, whether it's just during the ride where you're doing all the music stuff or when you're parked. You can also watch an exciting YouTube video.
What I think is brilliant is Google Maps as a navigation system. I use it a lot privately too because, especially in urban areas, it always gets you through traffic-heavy cities as quickly as possible. Then it guides you through shortcuts. And that, combined with the Android Automotive system, could be a really great feature. We want to test out how the voice system functions and say, "Hey Google, navigate us to Munich to Viktualienmarkt 1.
Take us straight to the Viktualienmarkt now."
You can see how quickly it finds the route. That's just 2 or 3 seconds. What this means is there are also really fast processors integrated here, ensuring that you're guided to Munich in the most efficient, smooth, and hassle-free way possible, making navigation seamless. It also, of course, includes alternative routes and is specifically designed to offer you the most optimal and efficient travel path for your journey. All this combined with the fast processor is, I believe, one of the quickest navigation systems we can showcase here in vehicles, inspired by the American supercar manufacturer.
Yes, definitely the best. We both use it as well. So far, not much else comes close, yeah.
Have you, of course, tried whether the whole thing can tell us a joke as well? And let's say, "Hey Google dot, tell us a little joke."
This one I find particularly quite hilarious. Why is it that pirates can't calculate the area of a circle?
They pirate. Fascinating. The tension keeps building with every single second of the clip.
You're really thrilled. Feel that rush again.
It's one of our first, so to say, electric range drives. We're now at 76 kilometers. Let's take a look. Now we've got the WLTP range, so to speak. Equalized, that means we've driven 76.1 kilometers at an average speed of 63 kilometers per hour with 0.0 liters of fuel consumption. In 1 hour and 16 minutes, we've effectively equalized the WLTP range, so to speak.
Great, and we still have 3 kilometers left per the computer.
Yes, that means we'll be falling short of the WLTP range here at einfach, elektrisch, so to speak. And I think anyone who's a bit drives and knows you average 63 kilometers per hour on the road. Not exactly eco talk.
Take part in the whole traffic situation for once.
Exactly. So from our point of view, it's also incredibly practical and hands-on. Don't hesitate to drop your opinions in the comments below. It's a good result for the Volvo, managing so smoothly today at 24 degrees under overcast skies, right?
Yes, it's done great so far.
Now let's take a closer look at how much distance is left to cover before the combustion engine finally starts up, so to speak. The pure symbol here will then gradually fade out, so to speak, and the system will seamlessly and automatically transition into hybrid driving mode. Not much longer, we're down to 1 kilometer of electric range. He accelerated back up to 100 kilometers per hour, so to speak. Yeah, Stefan, what's your take on that entire situation? Yeah, let us know your thoughts on how it all played out.
I generally think it's good that he stuck to it, that he managed the 76 kilometers. So when you drive normally, just like we do.
Now we're practically at 0 kilometers of pure electric range. The combustion engine still hasn't kicked in yet, so we're continuing to cruise along purely electrically here, without any assistance whatsoever from the combustion system at all, which is impressive. I've just switched to brake mode because of the town sign ahead. And of course, we want to fully utilize the maximum regeneration capability available to ensure we can really maximize the vehicle's range here as much as possible. It's still indicating 0 kilometers of electric range remaining, and realistically, that can't last for more than just a few moments at this point. Stefan will, of course, once again, we're now at 78.6 kilometers. Also calculate the electric consumption once more. It's relatively easy to do by recalculating it from 14.7 kilowatt hours. But what do you say? That's really decent, right? Yeah. You can actually be satisfied if in everyday life, since you're even more eco-conscious than we are, you probably achieve even better values, right?
Yeah, that could definitely happen. I'm really curious to see when it'll finally switch over, you know?
Now it has switched over. 79.1 kilometers was the exact moment. It has now switched to hybrid mode, engaged the combustion engine, and we're currently driving in auto mode. And Stefan will now calculate for you what 79.1 kilometers at 14.7 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers driven amounts to in terms of consumption. To make our calculation process transparent for you, we essentially divide the 14.7 kilowatt hours by the 79.1 kilometers and then multiply by 100, because we want to scale the consumption up to 100 kilometers. And what's the result, Stefan?
Yes, we arrive at 18.58 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which stays below the WLTP specification value provided here.
Exactly, it's set at 19.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers driven. And yes, with a bit of a conservative approach on the accelerator pedal, a good mix of drive and brake, as you can see, that you can actually squeeze out a few more percentage points from the battery pack even with careful driving. It was like 99% charged. Yeah, so from that perspective, I think those are actually quite decent and solid numbers.
So he achieved more range, he stayed below WLTP. With normal driving, yeah, that's already more.
We're now driving a bit further until we reach the Polish border, have a quick appointment to take care of, and then we'll head back. That's good. I don't even know. What was it? 100 kilometers? 110 kilometers? Exactly. We'll head back to Neustrelitz, and then of course we'll show you once more the consumption value with the hybrid drive on the return trip. That means we'll keep recuperating a bit here and there and not just rely solely on gasoline. So I'm really curious to see what the combined final outcome will look like in the end, right? On our, probably around plus or minus 200 kilometers of test distance, right?
Yeah, we'll definitely figure it out.
We're now exactly 100.5 kilometers in. If you think about it, it's been almost a hybrid drive, because the first good 12 kilometers we drove in with the combustion engine, then purely electric now, and have effectively combined the overall consumption, so to speak, of 1.6 liters per 100 kilometers driven in total so far. That is, I think, also quite decent.
That's nice, yeah.
After roughly 120 kilometers overland and through the towns, I think you can also take a break. Now we can confidently discuss the travel comfort of our little day trip today. As you've known for over 5 years, we always have a method on board that's specifically designed to ensure transparency between the vehicles we test. This method is simply called, and today I won't beat around the bush or drag things out unnecessarily at all, simply Stefan's popometer, and it's of course meticulously verified and systematically organized for accuracy.
He's just there.
It's a start.
There it is indeed, but it also adheres to a DIN standard.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
it's calibrated.
Yes, still so.
It is, period, so to speak, calibrated.
It's practically bolted down quite securely.
Yes, exactly. And it's totally irreversible.
Definitely, yes.
And it remains virgin.
Yes, 100%.
We're talking about Stefan's popometer, and it's been consistently going off for the past 5 years when it comes to travel comfort, seating comfort, and overall experience in electric vehicles as well as plug-in hybrids. And today we want to take a listen to see how Stefan's popometer reacts in the Volvo XC60 T6 plug-in hybrid.
And the impression I gathered during the review has only been further confirmed today. It's something you really have to acknowledge. The seats are just super comfortable. Excellent side support, excellent thigh support too. As I mentioned, I can adjust everything electrically here. I can also extend the seat cushion. Everything's electric too. I'm absolutely thrilled with the seats. They're just so much fun to use. Overall, I find the driving experience in the XC60 plug-in absolutely fantastic and smooth. The air suspension is perfectly calibrated and feels just right. Also, everything like bumps, cobblestones and such, it just glides over them so smoothly you don't even notice. It's super relaxed.
Yeah, I can only agree with all of that. It's a genuinely comfortable SUV, and what I also find truly impressive about it is it comfortably seats 4 people plus luggage. Although the trunk could certainly be a bit more spacious given the vehicle's length of 4.71 meters. But you also notice the long wheelbase of 2.86 meters, which effectively prevents every bump, manhole cover, or road imperfection from jolting straight into your spine. Especially when driving on these old prefab roads. What's it called, Stefan?
Yeah, those old concrete slab roads.
A typical old GDR street.
Exactly here, with the boxy buildings on the left and the flat, straight street below.
Well, I'm currently driving through Pasewalk, and you can really feel how smoothly, almost like a sedan, it glides over it. That's something you typically only find in much more expensive vehicles. Yet it also provides the necessary firmness when it comes to taking corners or when you need that extra control and precision. You're executing a quick maneuver. Yes, the steering can be adjusted in 2 different stages. You can set it to soft, like I have it now, or to an easy to handle mode, or you can set it to firm. Then it also becomes more direct and precise in terms of steering. But if we're just cruising around and checking the fuel consumption, having the steering set to a responsive mode like this is essentially all we really need. No, the air suspension itself can't really be adjusted or controlled further, right? We know this, for example, from the VW ID.7. GTX Tourer, where I believe in 10 or 12 steps we could adjust the DSC, though that was with adaptive dampers. There are also air suspension systems that you can, of course, adjust. I'm familiar with these from my Audi A8, for example, or from the Porsche Panamera or Porsche Cayenne. It does that automatically. That means if we were to, for example, if we were to switch into power mode, it would also lower the suspension slightly and adjust the air suspension to create a firmer, more responsive configuration. Conversely, in off-road mode, the vehicle would naturally raise itself just as it does in all-wheel drive mode to provide more ground clearance and perhaps improve off-road capability. What I really like is that the air suspension also has an entry and exit assist feature.
Yes, it's very convenient, especially when it lowers a bit to your side, allowing you to get in comfortably. That's cool.
Exactly. You can switch it on or off if you don't need it now. And it also features an additional loading level adjustment at the rear of the trunk. We showed this in the review with the driving report. If you want to load heavy items and avoid a high trunk sill, even though it's normally elevated, so it's not higher than with other SUVs, and then you also have the option to lower the rear for loading, which I think is also a really great feature.
Yeah.
So in terms of travel comfort and driving comfort combined with the seats, this car truly delivers, I think, a level of comfort that feels like sitting in an armchair.
Ja, sehr bequem.
Plus, the adjustability of the seat length is just perfect for taller individuals with longer legs, truly ideal and well suited. So Volvo has always been, I think, a leader in that particular area. And yes, that trend clearly continues with the new XC60 T6 plug-in hybrid right from the start. Yes, we want to take a look at the fuel consumption again right away. We've now covered 127.5 kilometers, driving through Hazewalk, and we're currently at 2.6 liters per 100 kilometers. Plus, of course, the 14.7 kilowatt hours from the net battery capacity, which significantly enhances our vehicle's overall efficiency. Consumed, so we had an average consumption value of 18.58 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers driven. And with an average speed of 62 kilometers per hour, I think that's pretty decent overall.
That's good. Yes, that works well.
Even if we include my combustion engine trip from this morning, we're now at 139.9 kilometers with 3.1 liters per 100 kilometers traveled for a 2.25-ton SUV. With a length of 4.71 meters, I find it absolutely impressive.
Yeah, that's certainly a good value indeed, yes.
So it's more like it's below the diesel level.
Right.
So actually, Diesel Dieter should also wish he had a diesel in there with a plug-in hybrid, you know, like Mercedes does.
That'd be cool.
But Volvo, I think, has completely moved away from self-ignition as far as I know, unfortunately.
They were, I believe, among the very first to commit to being completely combustion engine free by, I think, the year 2035 or somewhere around that time.
Though honestly, for those who really clock up the miles, the most modern diesel with, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers driven is still a solid option. I recall my Audi A8 with 400 horsepower and a 4-liter TDI Quattro engine. It consumed 8 liters on the highway, cruising at 160 or even 180 kilometers per hour. So these are truly masterpieces of German craftsmanship and engineering that were created there, which perhaps, if you really think about it, covering over 1,000 kilometers in a day, they can still be quite comfortable. That's something we definitely experienced with the ED 1000. Even with a reliable car, one we've won races with, the BYD C-Line 7. But in the end, we charge 4 times. Adding up those sessions, it's still a significant chunk of precious lifetime. And when you have to cover a lot of ground during your workday just to get through it all, and then still want to make time to put the kids to bed in the evening after everything else, I can still understand why some folks choose to be out and about with a diesel engine. You have to be honest, even in electromobility.
Of course. As I said, think about all the sales representatives and such who are still on the highway a lot or things like that. For them, the diesel engines still simply make more sense at this moment.
I mean, that's going to change now because Volvo is also switching to 800 volt technology. In the new Volvo ES90, which is coming in the second half of the year, it should also be in the EX90, which we've already introduced to you in great detail. I also speculate in the EX60, which would be the all-electric XC60, hopefully coming soon, also with 800 volt technology. So, and we know, for example, because Volvo Polestar, like Smart, is built on the Geely platform underneath, that we can reasonably assume it will likely go from 10 to 80% in 15 minutes with a 100 kilowatt hour battery. These are all speculative figures, but that's exactly what we successfully demonstrated in #5.
One can definitely be very curious about what Volvo truly has in store for its upcoming future models.
And that's why I think it's also worth checking once more if you're subscribed, because we always bring you the very latest Volvo models, just as we've done today. And of course, if you're subscribed and maybe even hit the bell, you'll be instantly notified whenever the latest video goes live. Just a little service from us, and a huge thank you to all of you who already support and stand by us so faithfully and consistently every day.
Neustrelitz welcomes us once again with perfect summer weather.
Yes, sometimes it's really... Yes, we're back in Neustrelitz, and of course we also want to take a closer look now at the overall fuel consumption figures here with the Volvo XC60 T6 plug-in hybrid. We're just a few hundred meters away from the Parkhotel Versaneria Neustrelitz, and now let's take a closer look together. Stefan, I'd suggest, wouldn't you agree with that?
Really can't wait.
In total, we've driven 197.8 kilometers. With an average consumption of 4.5 liters per 100 kilometers driven, plus the 14.7 kilowatt hours from the battery, which amounts to 18.58 kilowatt hours. The average consumption purely electric was equivalent. We had an average speed of 65 kilometers per hour and a driving time of 3 hours and 10 minutes. In total, I've already driven a few kilometers this morning, to be exact 12.1 with the combustion engine, and we've covered a total of 210.3 kilometers with 4.7 liters per 100 kilometers driven. 3 hours and 30 minutes with an average speed of 63 kilometers per hour achieved overall. Very decent values overall, especially considering we're dealing with a 4.7 1.71-meter SUV that weighs 2.25 tons. So with both of us Wumpfbrummen inside plus camera equipment, you can pretty much speak of 2.5 tons.
Yeah, about 7 times the thumb, really.
Then the tank was almost full with its 71 liters. Yes, so in that regard, you really have to credit the vehicle, especially when you combine the electric driving plus the hybrid driving, also paired with an Otto engine in this vehicle size and weight. It's truly very efficient and quite remarkable. Very interesting fuel efficient consumption can be achieved. And yes, in the end, we can draw a conclusion by saying, wow, the Volvo XC60 T6 plug-in hybrid is worth it for all those who say they're just not quite ready yet for fully electric driving, right?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think so too. Here you really get a lot for your money, which is also quite a lot. Oh.
The Park Hotel.
Oh, look, do you see? Let's drive around it one more time first. No, as I said, I'm fully supportive of it. For anyone who's not quite ready to make the full switch, the hybrid option is definitely worth considering. You can also check out the XC60. It's among the most popular SUVs in that segment, especially in Germany. Volvo's really proud of that.
Absolutely. Go and explore the upgraded Volvo XC60. Head to your nearest dealer, take a closer look, and request a customized offer that fits your preferences. Don't get distracted by the list price or all the packages, because Volvo, as mentioned, offers very, very attractive leasing and financing conditions. Plus, what I think are also some really exciting subscription models for certain folks. So I'm curious to hear what you all have to say. Feel free to share your thoughts on both videos and also specifically on today's video in the comments. Let's exchange thoughts together on that topic. And with that, we've now naturally arrived at the conclusion of today's video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Please feel free to check again if you're part of the Island Fire Electric community. We genuinely appreciate it if you could support us by subscribing to the channel. It's absolutely free for you and really helps us grow the channel even further. Yes, I immediately connected it back to my wall box at 32 amps, so it can recharge at 6.6 kilowatts and unfortunately not at 11 kilowatts. With that, we're wrapping things up. A massive thank you for tuning in. Stay healthy and safe, and we'll see you soon. Your Ollie. You, Stefan. Dot. I think this forest lake color is absolutely stunning. It's not dark gray as we mentioned in the review, but rather resembles a forest lake shimmering with a greenish tone. Depending on the sunlight and cloud cover, it also has a slightly bluish tint at times. So it's kind of a cool exterior color combined with this dark package where everything else is glossy black. It just looks really, really stylish. Here with the Volvo XC60 T6 plug-in hybrid,